Hey guys, Yuri K here. In this video, I will cover the 7 most common food myths, and I will bust each of those myths and debunk them and explain why they are in fact not true. Myth number 1, saturated fats are harmful and cause heart disease. Quite the contrary, saturated fats do not cause heart disease and are not fattening, and in fact studies have shown that there is no correlation between saturated fat and heart disease. For example, the Inuit tribe of the Arctic regions of northern Canada's diet consists of more than 50% saturated fat, which comes mostly from seal and whale blubber. However, studies have shown that this tribe's cardiovascular health is exceptionally good. Also, when you think about breast milk, it contains more than 50% saturated fat. However, do you think that breast milk is going to clog a newborn's arteries? I don't think so. In fact, it is absolutely necessary for their infant growth and well-being. Myth number 2, all carbohydrates are bad and will make you sick. Let's clarify this point. The consumption of processed carbohydrates and sugars, especially in excess, will make you sick and unhealthy. However, the consumption of healthy carbohydrates, when used properly, is actually very beneficial and healthy for the body. This is especially true when we are performing high-intensity exercise such as weight training. We want to cycle our carbohydrates around our weight training sessions in order to boost our metabolism, to boost leptin sensitivity, which is one of the main fat-burning hormones in the body, and it also increases our testosterone to estrogen ratio, which is going to help us to build muscle and burn fat. So the proper use of carbohydrates at the right time, that is, carbohydrate cycling with the right foods, for example, brown rice and sweet potatoes, among others, is going to be very beneficial. Myth number 3, egg yolks are bad for you and raise cholesterol levels. Again, this is false. We have to consider that the yolk of an egg is the central part of the embryo from where the chicken is going to grow up from. So this part is going to be the most nutrient-dense packed section of the egg in order to enable the chick to grow and function properly inside the hen before the eggs are laid and hatched. Now, this translates to the eggs that we eat. The yolk of the egg is the most densely nutrient-packed, antioxidant-rich part of the egg. They carry numerous vitamins, minerals, and all the essential fatty acids. And speaking of cholesterol, consuming cholesterol in the diet is not that important when it comes to our blood cholesterol level, because our body has the ability to regulate its own cholesterol naturally. The key here is that the egg has to come from a healthy source, preferably organic, which means that it's going to be loaded with good cholesterol, which is HDL cholesterol, and it's going to lower LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. And so the egg yolk is going to increase the ratio of the good cholesterol to the bad cholesterol. Now, keeping in mind that the yolk is high in fat and calories, again, these are good fats, we want to keep track of our overall caloric intake, and by going too much into a caloric surplus, of course, we are going to gain weight in the form of fat. And keep in mind that stripping the egg of its yolk and consuming the egg white is probably the worst decision you can make, because the white is going to only contain the proteins and none of the high-packed dense nutrients of the yolk. So it's better to eat the egg with the yolk in its entirety for overall health and well-being. Myth number 4, soy-based proteins are healthier than animal proteins. This is a problem where the majority of the public has been deceived into believing. However, the opposite is true. Soy is actually going to cause problems For example, it's going to age you faster, it's going to slow down your metabolism and make you fatter. Soy is also going to disrupt your hormonal production and balance. Why does this happen? The effects of soy actually mimic the effect of estrogen on the body, and that is they cause the body to store fat. In addition, soy has been shown to negatively impact male fertility. That is, it damages sperm and it reduces the chances of conceiving. Another major problem with soy is that 93% of the soy products out there are genetically modified as a result of Monsanto getting involved with genetically modified organisms, GMOs. Genetically modifying food causes a number of other health problems. For example, it has been shown to cause cancerous tumors and actually cause cancers within lab rats. So there are many problems that are involved with GMO food, and genetically modifying soy is going to make the soy even worse than it already is. So let's keep in mind that the soy products that we find today mostly are heavily processed, full of additives and chemicals, which make them a lot worse than they already are. Myth number 5, salt is unhealthy and causes high blood pressure, also known as hypertension. Again, not true. The fear of salt went mainstream in the 1960s when Louis Stahl force-fed lab rats the human equivalent of 500 grams of salt on a daily basis. And of course, eating such a ridiculously high amount of salt caused the rats hypertension. However, who in their right mind is going to eat 500 grams of sodium per day? In fact, the average person consumes approximately 3.4 grams of salt per day, which is 145 times less than the amount used in that study. So here we are in 2016, about 50 years later, and the CDC and the FDA is still demonizing salt and spreading the fear that salt causes hypertension, basing it on one very flawed study. In fact, not a single study has shown that eating salt causes hypertension. The important thing to remember is that we want to eat natural, unprocessed salt, such as sea salt. We don't want to eat the highly processed and refined salt that we find in supermarkets, for example, table salt, which is going to cause us health problems. Salt is crucial to the healthy functioning of the body, and one of its main functions is to maintain the electrolyte balance in the body. For example, when we sweat during exercise or on a hot day, we're going to be losing a lot of salts through the sweat, and so we need to replenish those salts in order to regulate our electrolyte balance. Not doing so can actually cause us a lot of harm, and in fact, eating too little salt can actually increase the risk of strokes and heart attacks, and even cause the body to become insulin resistant and even slow down the metabolism. Myth number 6, grains and whole wheat are healthy. Again, this is false. In fact, when you measure the glycemic index of whole wheat, for example, a slice of bread, it is found to be higher than many candies and higher than even table sugar. So for example, if you consume just 2 slices of whole wheat bread, it's going to increase your blood glucose levels even more than a tablespoon of pure sugar. This is going to cause your pancreas to spike your insulin, and the excess glucose in the blood is going to get stored in the form of body fat. And I have other videos covering this topic in more detail, which I will include in the info box below. Another culprit of whole wheat is that most of the time it contains gluten, which is harmful for the body and also blocks the absorption of many essential vitamins and minerals. Instead of consuming grains and whole wheat, try to consume brown rice, quinoa, millet, amaranth. Those are the healthy kinds of grains. And also try to consume healthy forms of carbohydrates, such as sweet potatoes, yams, squash, and various organic fruits. And the last one, myth number 7, too much protein is bad for your kidneys. Again, not true. Research does not show any association of protein intake and kidney problems. In fact, quite the opposite is true. The main risk factors for kidney disease are high blood pressure and diabetes, and eating a high protein diet actually helps improve both situations. Protein is going to also help you manage your appetite and cravings, and is going to make you feel fuller, preventing you from overeating. It also helps you to preserve and build lean muscle mass, especially when performing high intensity training such as weight training. And protein is important for organ development as well. Now, we don't want to go overboard with the protein. There is a certain amount of protein that is ideal depending on how much physical activity that you do. So there you have it, guys. 7 common health myths debunked and busted. So I hope you guys liked the video. Please give me a thumbs up, please comment, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. And remember to follow me on Instagram at YuriK0877 down below. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.